Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast.
All right, what is going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of Southeastern Bow Hunter Podcast. I really hope that you guys enjoyed last week's episode with Daryl. I'm sorry if some of you guys maybe have missed it. The switch over to the Sportsman's Empire was a little bit more difficult than I thought it would be. But we got it all figured out. We are actually using a new streaming platform, new recording platform. But we'll see how all that goes. So this episode is going to be with Mr. Scott Bakkan from Dialed Archery. Dude, I have been wanting to get Scott back on for quite a while. And, I don't really know what happened. It kind of just, I don't know, didn't happen. So it's going to be a really good episode, Scott. Get to catch up and hear all about what Dialed's working on. Obviously, before we do that, wish I was more prepared, but before we do that, we obviously have to get the partners out of the way. So I'm going to pull the list up real quick. And there we go. All right. So this podcast obviously is brought to you by Sportsman's Empire. We are now part of that network. So if you want to listen to this podcast, you can head over to Sportsman's Empire on Apple or Spotify. Or if you want to just strictly listen to us, because there's like 30 other podcasts in that network, which are all really good, by the way. If you just want to listen to us, we're still out on Apple and Spotify and YouTube and all of that. So let's see. We got podcast is brought to you by Osseo Gear, Boutique, Summit Stands, Bergie Bowsmith, G5 Outdoors, Prime Archery, which little heads up on the Prime. I finally got to shoot the Prime Divide. Bro, 31 inches, 6-inch brace height. That is going to be sick. I can't wait to get mine in the full Osseo gear pattern. It's going to be really awesome. Obviously, Dialed Archery, which we'll cover today. Moultrie Cell Cams, Bow Hunting League. If you want to be a state sponsor this year for the Bow Hunting League, head to the website, go sign up. It's only $100 a year, and you get a ton of perks from it. And let them know that you heard from it from us. Okay. Really just helps us out a lot. Let's see, Boning Archery, Scrape Doctor, Victory Archery, and Catalyst Archery. So that's all of the partners. If you can't tell, kind of running through this a little quick. I just honestly really want to get to the episode. But before we do that, I have to talk to all of you about our Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. He has been working in my life lately. And, I've been working on getting closer to him and having a stronger relationship with him, which is the most important thing. And I've been seeing a lot of things change for the better in my life because of that. There's obviously still the struggles that happen, but once you kind of realize that Christ is in your corner, dude, you can get through those struggles. It is a very, very just amazing feeling to have him be part of my life. And I mean, he saved me. He did. I was not going down a good path. And then I realized that and, had some outside influences kind of pushing me towards Jesus, and then decided to give my life to him. And it's not like life got all, sunshine and rainbows. I mean, we're going to struggle, right? But because we have Jesus in our corner, we know that we can, we have him to trust in, that everything's going to be okay. So, that's my little preacher moment. If you guys are listening to this, whatever that ice storm is that's coming, I'm praying for all of you. Please, just, God, I just hope all of y'all are okay, honestly. And maybe I'm saying this, I'm recording this before it even comes. So maybe I'm saying this and nothing happened. Maybe we just got a little rain, a little snow, who knows? But I'm praying for everybody that's going to be affected by this thing. So yeah, you guys need any help, reach out to me. I'll do what I can. If I can get to you, I'll help. If not, just hunker down, make sure you have blankets. If we're still going through it at the time of this dropping, just honestly place your faith in Jesus and you'll feel a type of peace you've never felt before. So that is the whole intro. That is everything. Thank you again for listening. And let's get started with Scott Bakkan from Dialed Archery. Got my boy, Mr. Scott Bakkan from Dialed Archery, back on the podcast. It's been a while. Scott's been super busy. Yes, I have blown his phone up because I thought I may have done something to upset him. I'm just being candid here, but the dude is seriously like probably one of the busiest people I know. So, dude, what have you been up to? I know deer season's pretty much over for most of us. You're in a hotel room right now, so you're obviously doing something that is probably a lot of fun. So, I mean, what's been going on with you? What are you up to right now?
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't say I'm the busiest person. I mean, we're all busy. I mean, especially, at Dialed, like the whole team has just been nonstop busy. So it's just, yeah, it's crazy right now, just growing like wildfire, and it's all hands on deck. And I am in a hotel room right now, and I am heading somewhere to do something fun. So, um, I I can't I can't wear the busy badge, all the time. So luckily for me, I do get to sneak away a few days this week to I say sneak one last hunt in, or sneak, the first hunt of the year in, however you want to look at it. So,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, it's been very busy, but it's good. It's all good. Things are good. Like I said, the whole team's doing good. Everybody's just cranking away. And I was actually, I was in the shop today, and there was a bunch of reorganizing and doing a little house cleaning. So it was kind of pure chaos. So I just kind of ducked out and was like, "You guys do your thing. I'm gonna disappear for a couple days. So have fun."
Nice. Yeah. So you mentioned
So,
Texas earlier before we started recording a thing. And are you going down there to hunt some whitetail?
mule deer actually.
Muleys. Okay.
Yeah,
See,
yeah. It's
all right. I was going to save this for later, but since mule deer got brought up, um, I have a trip planned next year for Colorado.
hmm
And, you've hunted mule deer in the past, right? So what would you say is kind of the one thing that I might need to know before I go? I mean, we're kind of just hitting it pretty heavy right now, but being a whitetail hunter, never really, I've only ever seen a handful of muleys in my life, never hunted them.
yeah,
So
yeah.
what's kind of like the tactic for that?
Man, I'm probably the worst person to ask that, because I'm a novice when it comes to mule deer. This is actually like full like transparency. I've actually never killed a mule deer for myself. So this is my, like, I would say, like, my first true mule deer hunt for myself. I mean, guiding in Wyoming, like I've guided, I don't know how many mule deer hunts, but this is like the first time I've actually hunted mule deer for myself. Like I went, back in the day with guys I used to work with, but like you said, we were whitetail guys. We had no clue what we were doing. I
Yeah.
mean, honestly, we spent most of the time road hunting because we just had no clue how to hunt them. But I would say the one thing I think I've learned over the years with mule deer is, you know, regardless of where you are, whether it's Texas, Colorado, Wyoming, they're all mule deer on mule deer, and they're kind of a creature of habit. Like, I mean, I would say you hunt them, and again, this is just my opinion and it's my observation. Like, you kind of hunt them like you would anything else. Like, you glass them or first thing in the mornings, waiting for them to come back from feeding, waiting for them to bed down, and then that's your opportunity to try to plant a stalk. So a lot of it is just, food to bed, waiting for them to bed in a spot that, you know, is is advantageous to where you can put a stalk on them. If it's not right, you just wait them out, because eventually they're going to move and rebed. So I think probably if there was like one key thing that I've learned is like patience with mule deer is key. Um, I mean, I don't know how many times like you've, I mean, we've sat on a deer for hours just waiting for them to rebed, or, you mark where they're at, move on, try to find a different one, and then maybe come back and, see if they rebed. But, it's a lot like hunting anything else. Like, they are a creature of habit. Right now, like on this particular hunt, like it is their peak rut, which seems crazy for us.
Really?
Yeah, supposedly they're rutting really hard. So,
Huh.
keying in on, the does, and again, just catching them going from food to where they're going to bed. So, um, like I said, I'm not a mule deer hunter by an expert by any means, but it's a lot of glassing and just spending a lot of times just picking country apart, trying to see if you can find one bed, or finding one that's on its feet and waiting for them to bed up, and see if you can get a stalk on them. So, and I mean, I don't like, I can literally, you know, just thinking about like the stalks that I've been on, like every single one's different, like the strategy
Yeah.
always kind of seems the same. Like, you always want to come from behind them and above them.
Yeah.
And, rather than trying to go up on them. But obviously that's dependent on the train. So yeah, man, I don't know. Have fun and have patience, I guess, is all I
Yeah.
can tell you. Like I said, I'm not a mule deer guru by any means. I think it's just like hunting anything else. Like you get lucky sometimes you don't, but it's just, having patience and not trying to force a stalk if it doesn't seem right, I think is a huge part. And I know a lot of like the stalks that I've blown, again, like guiding, it's just I went too fast or I wasn't paying attention, or like you'll find a buck bedded and then you'll plan a route to get to them, but not paying attention what's between me and the deer, right? Like how many other deer are between us that I don't see,
Yeah.
and then you blow them out, and then it blows the buck out. So I think, like I said, if there's one thing, I think that, and it's really hard for me, but I think if there's one like key thing is just patience, like, and just taking your time.
Okay. Well,
That's going to be my strategy anyways. I mean, I
yeah.
don't right or wrong, but it just seems like I said, it just seems like, the guys I know that are way better at it than me, that just seems to be kind of like the one thing, is they're just very strategic and very methodical about their approach. And if it's not right, they don't push it. And it's just, if the buck's not in a right spot at that moment, it doesn't mean in a couple hours, because they always want to bed in the shade. So if the sun rotates, they're going to get up, rebed in the shade, and then that may be your chance. So if you can kind of get yourself in a position where you're kind of either halfway there or in a spot to where if you need to go, you can go pretty quick. But I think just being patient is a huge part of it.
Okay. Yeah, I know nothing about it. I mean, I've
Or
watched.
just shoot them with a rifle from a long ways
I
away seems
mean,
to work pretty well too.
yeah, but I
We're
like to
bow
use.
hunters. I
Yeah, I was
know.
gonna say I like
I
to
know.
use my
We're bow
proof.
hunters.
So
Mhm.
I don't know. That's not the type of scope I want to be looking through, you know?
Yeah. I mean, the proof can extend your range, but not
Oh
quite
yeah.
that far.
Dude, yeah. So that was one thing I experienced at TAC last year was because I think I just got my bow and the sight. Or no, you know what? I had gotten the sight about 2 months before my bow came in. And it was killing me. I literally would look at it every day and I'm like, dude, I just want to get this thing set up. I'm not going to put it on my old bow because I know I'm not going to use it and it's going to be completely different. But once I got everything set up and went to TAC, it it just kind of really blew me away, you know? Like I was able to shoot. I think I hit after a couple of shots, because my arrow setup wasn't right. But I think I'm trying to remember how far it was. It was over 100. I want to say it was like 120 maybe.
Mhm.
And I'd never shot anything that far. I mean, 100 was the max that I'd ever done. And then, I mean, that proof just made it super simple, you know? And I didn't have to worry
Yeah.
about anything moving. Like, my favorite thing on that site, no joke, is that little locking lever.
Mhm.
Dude, when I'm at the range or I'm at TAC or something and I'm dialing and then I just lock it down, it gives me such like a confidence feeling. Like, I know it's not going to move, you know?
Yeah. Well, and I mean, you know, not to get in the weeds, but that was one of the biggest like pieces of feedback we got when we launched the Arxos, which was our Gen 1 product. And then when we were working on the Proof, which was our Gen 2, the Proof didn't, or excuse me, the Arxos didn't have any sort of locking mechanism. It had a brake system, but it
Yeah.
didn't have like an actual locking mechanism. And that was one thing we heard a lot of people, really wanted and were missing. So the cool thing is, like, I am not a person where, and again, me personally, where I lock my dial. Like, I don't ever want to lock my dial, because if I ever have to make an adjustment, like, I want to be able to make an adjustment and not worry about it being stuck.
Yeah.
But the beauty of that, we call it the switch lever, is you can lock it down completely if you want to, but you can also control the tension of the dial. So,
Hmm.
like, I have mine like at kind of like a 45, or like I would say at like a 2 or 3 o'clock position, where it's tight to where the dial can't move unless I move it,
Yeah.
but it's tight enough to where it's not going to get bumped or anything. So I'm still able to adjust it, but it's just really tight. So I like having that stiff tension on the dial, but I never actually permanently lock it.
Hmm.
But that's the beauty of that switch lever, is the shooter can control, if you want to lock it in place, like you like, you can lock it in place. Or somebody like me where I just want additional tension, I can fine tune that tension. So it's really a very, flexible system. And, with the extended range, like, I mean, going into our Gen 2 now with the proof, like it's been proven time and time and time, like that the elevation or the angled elevation rail works.
Yeah.
Like that is truly the only way to increase your maximum distance without changing your setup, meaning increasing poundage, lightening your arrow, adjusting your peep height. Like that angled rail is truly the only way to pick up additional yardage. Like there's other companies out there that are extending their elevation rail on a perpendicular rail saying, oh, we're going to extend your range. That's bullshit, because you can have a 2 foot long elevation rail, but you're still going to run out of clearance before, your maximum distance is still like handicapped, because you're going to run out of clearance before you can even reach the full potential, right? So the only true way to pick up yardage is with that angled rail. And like I said, it's just been proven over and over again that that system works. So it's a pretty slick system, and the proof is just, obviously I'm biased because it's ours, but I mean, it's literally a site that, it'll do everything. And like I said, it's just such a flexible like system as a whole, to where you can set it up how you want it. Like you can truly like set the site up how you'd want to run it. And we all have our own kind of way of how we prefer.
Yeah.
So it's just a great system. And like I said, I mean, as somebody that, you know, deals with them and works with them every day, it's, like especially at the TAC events, like the more of them I set up, the more I just am like, it's just such an impressive piece of equipment. So, I couldn't imagine not shooting one, to be honest. And again, I'm biased because it's ours, but it's
Yeah.
just, it, even if I was like an outsider, looking in, it's such a badass system. So, um, I'm looking forward to hopefully putting it to use this week, but we'll see.
Dude, I hope you do. I really hope you do.
I do
It's still
too.
been,
I do too. I,
well,
sh- I
it's been
shouldn't. I
killing me
shouldn't.
because,
I
like,
shouldn't. I shouldn't. I shouldn't be doing what I'm doing. But you know what? Like life's short, so
yeah, I
you get an
mean,
opportunity, you got to take advantage of it. So
that's what I'm saying. I think you should be doing what you're doing. Why not? It's you.
because I can think of a million other things I should be doing back home, but you know what? They'll be
Well,
there next week when I get home. So
exactly. It'll be fine. No,
that's what we
I
got Starlink for.
do what?
That's what we got Starlink for. We can work from anywhere
Exactly.
now.
Exactly. No, speaking of, like, I guess an outsider looking in kind of thing, I tried last summer to get my wife into archery, and I didn't really think putting the Arxos on her bow would necessarily be, I don't want to say comfortable for her, but she didn't know what she was doing, right? And like I would have had
Mhm.
to resight it in completely. So I just grabbed an old sight that I had, laying around and threw it on there, because I didn't think she was going to really take to it anyway. Like, she wanted to try it, and she got 4 shots in before she had some string slap that now has some weird growth on her arm. I don't know what it is,
Mhm.
but they want
Calloused.
$12,000 to x-ray it. So
Yeah.
it's if I gave my wife cancer, I didn't mean to. I pray that's not what happened. But
Nah. We're all
um
gonna get it someday. So
yeah,
whatever.
I just don't want to accelerate the process. That's the
Yeah.
only thing. But no, all joking aside, like, I did shoot the bow again, sort of to, I guess, feel draw length, because her and I are the same draw length. And going from a what's the word? A sight that definitely doesn't hold up to a dialed, and then shooting my bow again after that, night and day. Because that
Mhm.
one, you could tell, like, the peep height and just everything when it would go up and down. It didn't. It's weird because it used to work, and then the past 3 years of shooting a dialed, I just don't. I can't shoot anything else.
Yeah.
Like, it's just,
Well, and
I wouldn't.
and that's where, like, I always say, like, all kidding aside, like I said, I'm biased. I'm truly, truly proud of like the proof and like where we started and kind of where we're at now as far as like the product development and stuff. But at the end of the day, like there's a number of like really good sites out there, right?
Yeah,
And at the end of the day, you got to use what works for you, what you're most comfortable with. So there really is no bad options out there. It's
yeah,
just, and again, like I'm biased, but it's just when you actually break it down, like at the component level or the features level and the benefits, like I truly feel like the Proof is the only sight on the market that truly benefits the shooter,
Yeah.
right? Like you can shoot any other sight out there and yeah, it's going to work, right? Like it'll kill just as many animals as any other sight, but the Proof just it is truly a sight that you're going to shoot and you're going to see a direct like benefit from using it. Whether it's increased in your effective range or just the simplicity of the design or customizing like the tape setups. It just offers so much customization for the shooter to where, like I said, I truly feel like it's the only site out there that you are actually going to see a benefit from, right?
Yeah.
It's not just another aiming tool. It's not just another site. You are going to benefit from using it. And so, that's something that we're just going to continue to build on. But, at the end of the day, like I said, everybody's got to use what's comfortable for them, what they have the most confidence in. And, that's totally fine. So
Yeah.
we get it and understand it. It's just, like I said, it's just the more even me, like, I'll, it's kind of a running joke internally and externally, for somebody that's in the archery industry, like I probably shoot my bow the least amount out of anybody. Like, and it's just, I make excuses. Like I say, I don't have time and stuff, but it really does come down to like time. And, honestly, like I spend so much time talking about sights and archery. It's like, then when I do have free time, it's kind of like the last thing I want to do is go shoot my bow. Like, I'm going to go shoot guns or go play golf or just take my mind off archery. But like I said, the Proof is just the more I shoot it and the more I set sights up at events and stuff, it's just, I don't know, it's hard not to smile and really be like, damn, like we did something pretty cool with that sight. So it's been awesome to see the continued growth and just more people willing to try the Proof out. And that's one thing we've always said since day one is the more sites we can get in people's hands, the more feedback we get. And we always welcome feedback, whether it's positive or negative. Like we can't get better if we don't get feedback. And like I've always said, there's a difference between, constructive criticism and just being a dick, right? Which,
Yeah.
constructive criticism we welcome, but if you're just going to be an online asshole, like you're probably not going to get a very good response from us. But, like it's just cool to see the momentum continuing to build. And even just in the last year, just the environment within Dialed, how much it's changed, but yet it's still the same as far as like our mentality and who we are and stuff. But it's like it's just we built a pretty sweet foundation. And it's just awesome to see the Proof just continue to build. And it led into, like we were talking earlier, the launch of the 3VA, a couple months ago. And that's been a long time coming, getting that launched. And that's just been, crazy getting that thing, out the door and into customers' hands. So yeah, it's been a wild ride so far. So it's been a lot of fun, been a lot of work, a lot of stress, but also a lot of excitement. So we're really stoked for this year. And um, like I said, I need to go enjoy these next couple days and then get back to work. But
Yeah.
it is
Well,
what it is.
it's good to see too, like, because I've been following y'all since Dialed came out, and to see where it was that very first episode I heard about it to
Oh
now,
yeah,
dude, it's crazy. And I mean,
yeah.
so one thing I do want to sort of touch on with the Proof, because I texted you about it, but I don't know if I worded it right. You guys have 3 different options of how you mount the sight. So you've
hmm
got the Picatinny, I want to say it's the direct mount dovetail, and then just the basic dovetail, right? Which goes on like a
So yeah, we have the Picatinny, and then we have the riser dovetail mount, which is your standard riser mount, and then we have the bridge lock mounting
bridge lock.
system.
Okay. So
Yeah.
I guess my question is, when, like, I'll use myself as an example, right? I've been using the standard mount dovetail this past year, and I was looking at because I'm still shooting the prime form, and I was looking at it
hmm
and I was like, I wonder how much different is it going to be if I try to do a Picatinny mount, right?
hmm
But I didn't want to start, and this was during deer season too, so I'm not going to disassemble anything until season's over. And that was, I think season ended 2 weeks ago, 3 weeks ago, something like that. So now I got a lot of free time, and I guess I'm just curious, like if I were to take that sight off and take the dovetail part of it off, because I think there's like 2 bolts or something holding it on.
Yep.
Would I
Yep.
be able to, without having to get some sort of additive or anything added to it, would I be able to mount it to the Picatinny?
Yeah, so all the frames are interchangeable. So like you mentioned the 2 screws, like I think they're 9/32 screws that hold the frame to the body, but that's also your first axis adjustment. So you can just swap the frames out. So like if you were running a riser, standard mount and wanted to go to a Picatinny, it's just 2 screws that you remove, put the new frame on, and then now instead of mounting it to the side of the riser, you mount it to the front. And you know, it really it'll change your impact. Um, because you're adjusting the length. Like, so, the distance that the scope housing is from the riser, that affects your impact.
Mhm.
So if with a riser mount, your scope housing was sitting slightly farther out, and then with the Picatinny, you're obviously going to bring it closer. That should raise your impact slightly.
Mhm.
And then obviously your left and right's going to change because you're moving it from the side of the bow to the front, but it really shouldn't change like your actual tape number
Mhm.
because you're not changing the speed or anything like that. So, you may have to adjust your left and right. You may have to adjust your initial up and down. And then, that's the beauty with the switch tape rings is those are all recalibrating, or adjustable. So, it should be a very seamless transition. So yeah, it shouldn't take much work at all to get it back up and running.
Okay. So if someone's listening to this and they have the same situation as me, would they have to go to the website and get one of the mounts?
Mhm.
Okay. Got it.
Yeah, we sell just the frames.
Got it.
Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, we sell
That,
just the frames by themselves, and we sell all the frames in all the different colors. So like if you have a specific color you're trying to match it to, like you can still get, the same color so it looks, so it has the look. But yeah, all the frames are available individually.
got it. Okay. Yeah. Well, I see. I'm glad I asked you instead of me just tinkering with it, because I would have torn the thing apart and been like, "Oh, wait, I'm missing something
It's like I
here."
said, it's super simple.
Yeah.
Like you just loosen the 2 first axis screws that are on each side, just loosen those and then take the 2 screws out and the frame will just pop off. So yeah, it's super simple.
Cool. Cool. Yeah, dude, you guys I feel like y'all cover almost every single base that you need to. I mean, one of my favorite things that I look forward to every year is what small batches are going to come out. And you guys did
Yeah.
one recently that I was so hyped about. I think I might have texted you about it, but the Lone Wolf custom gear one, dude,
Hmm.
that might be, and I'm biased because I really, really like the Lone Wolf guys, but that might be
Yep.
the sickest sight you guys have ever made,
Yeah,
honestly.
that one turned out cool. Yeah, the small batch, it's a lot of fun and it's really interesting just to kind of see like um like we'll do a small batch that we're all really excited about
Yeah.
and then we'll launch it and it'll just be a total flop. And then, like the whiteout one, for example, like I thought that was the dumbest idea. Like I was so against that, and that ended up being one of our best launches.
Yeah.
So it's just crazy to me, like what people think is cool, and I guess it's just, maybe I'm showing my age a little bit. Like what I think is cool isn't necessarily what all the young kids nowadays think is cool. But yeah, the small batches are just it's a lot of fun, and it's just a way for us just to kind of have some fun with a cool product line and just kind of see where people's interests are. But yeah, the Lone Wolf custom gear one, that was one of our better small batches, and that's one that we'll probably bring back at some point.
Mhm.
This year we've been kind of cooling it a little bit on some of the small batches just because we're just so freaking busy right now.
Yeah.
So we haven't really done a lot of small batches here in the last like couple months. I know we did. Can't remember exactly when the Lone Wolf custom gear one, but it was last fall sometime. And
Yeah.
then the most recent one, we did a collab with Grizzly
Yeah, dude, that one
coolers.
was so sick.
That one was a lot of fun. Um, but yeah, we'll definitely be bringing some of those old small batch launches back along with some new ones. So yeah, it's just right now we're just so focused on trying to keep up that we're just kind of holding off.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That really, like I said, that really is one of my favorite things is when that starts to get rolling, because you never know. Like when I saw the Lone
Hmm.
Wolf custom gear one, I'm like, dude, I don't know why I wouldn't have guessed it, but it just was one of those things where, like, when I think of Lone Wolf, I think of like, I want to say old school, like trad
Hmm.
bows, fixed pin sights, and fixed blades and all that other stuff. And I mean, I've gotten to be pretty good buddies with Zach over there. And he kind of showed me the real side of Lone Wolf, where it's like it's not like that, where they're still doing all of the updated stuff and just I don't know, man. Like I said, I'm a huge fan of it. So
Yeah.
I
Well, what's cool at the small batch too is like, um, whether you're in the market for a new site or you currently have a proof is like, not every small batch is a complete site. Like sometimes we'll just do small batches on the dials,
yeah,
right? And the dials are all interchangeable. So like if you have a proof already, you're not excluded from the small batch offerings. Like if you see a small batch dial that you really like, you can grab the dial and just swap the dials out and still partake in the small batch. You know what I mean? So you can start building quite the collection of dials. And then, like I said, some of them are complete small batch sites. So we try to switch it up a little bit. So, you know, if you're a new user or a current user, you still can get in on the small batches. So yeah, it's like I said, it's a lot of fun, and I think it's just cool. Like, I think it's kind of a chance for like our team to really like kind of tap into like we have some really, really creative guys like on our team, like Jordan, who's, our main creative director. Like that dude, he never ceases to like surprise me with like some of the creativity and like just some of the crazy stuff he has scheming in his head. So it's kind of like I said, it's a fun way just to kind of play around and just see with like what kind of crazy ideas we can come up with.
yeah. So speaking of crazy ideas, um, I never thought I want to talk about the strike because I never
Mhm.
thought that Dial would ever come out with a fixed pin non-mover sight.
Never thought we would either.
What was up? Like, what was the birth of that? I mean, because what's crazy
You
is it's
know,
confusing. Like, I'll see photos that people post, and I'm like, is that a strike or a proof? And I have to like zoom in because they look so similar.
yeah, so honestly, it just came down to, again, just kind of feedback from, customers and being on the road and stuff. Just, the proof is it is the, kind of the premier site that we offer, right?
Yeah.
But it's also, like I mentioned earlier, it's packed full of features, but there's a lot of shooters out there that don't need all that,
Mhm.
right? And especially if you just kind of look at like hunting from a whole, like the hunting demographic isn't necessarily getting any younger. There's the average like hunter, it's actually, that age is creeping up there. So, we just kind of wanted to offer something for like a different demographic. It's geared towards the customer base that still appreciate high quality, American made stuff and still cares about, quality, but just doesn't need all the bells and whistles. Like
Yeah.
they don't need, the adjustable yardage. They don't need like all the gadgets like on the site like the proof has. So it's the strike is literally it's just a badass workhorse. It's kind of geared towards like the whitetail hunter, where your yardages are minimal, and they're fixed ranges. um so it was I guess if I'm being honest, it was kind of an easy ad
Yeah.
because it's basically a proof without the dial.
Yeah.
um so it was just kind of an easy add to the lineup, but it was also, something that we thought was necessary just based on some of the feedback we got. And so it's just kind of one more thing just to add to the dialed product offering. And it's done pretty well. I mean, it's actually been pretty crazy, like how many people that we look back at like history, and it's like they bought Cruise, but then they also buy a Strike.
Yeah.
So it's like they have their whitetail setup, and then they have like their tack or Western hunting setup. So like they'll run the Strike for like whitetail hunting, and then they have a Proof for everything else. So like I said, it's just a workhorse of a site that gets the job done, but it just doesn't have all the extras that some people just don't necessarily need or want.
So can you take like say someone got a strike and they're like me where they don't really like horizontal pins. Can you take
Mhm.
like the Mag 3 VA and put that on a strike?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's
That's so
it's
sick.
literally. I mean, it like I said, it's a proof without the dial. So I mean, every single one of our mag, housing configurations, like they'll fit on a proof, they'll fit on a strike.
Yeah.
That it's just a strike is a proof just without the adjustable yardage. So you can still get all the different color options. Like we have some custom decals that you can put on the void of the strike, so you can really customize it. So yeah, I mean it's a cool freaking sight, you know. Like if honestly, like somebody like me, like you know, I don't shoot a lot. Like I don't shoot a lot of long distance. Like you know, I might shoot a couple tack courses here and there, but
Yeah.
you know, for most of what I do, like a strike is all I need. It's just I'm so used to an adjustable sight, and you know, I am a single pin shooter, so I like having you know the yardage adjustability and being able to dial into the to the exact yardage. But I mean, honestly, like I really don't need a proof. Like a strike would probably do me just fine.
Yeah.
It's just you know, I work for the company. Why wouldn't I just shoot the the premier sight? But I mean,
Yeah.
it's a cool little site, and it's super lightweight. I mean, you know, anybody that's super conscientious about weight, you know, the total weight of their bow, like that sight. I mean, it is so lightweight, but yet, I mean, like I said, it's built like a brick shit house. I mean, it'll take an absolute beating. So it's a badass little site. Like it's pretty freaking cool. Like honestly, we don't promote it as much as we should just because we're so focused on proof,
Yeah.
because that's where the majority of you know our business is. But I mean, the strike is it's a very cool site. So
Well, and it also
and
gives.
it's you know it's also it's an entry level site. You know what I
Yes.
mean? Like for somebody that is new to archery or is like hesitant, because there is you know adjustable sights can be kind of intimidating.
Yeah.
You know, for somebody that's not quite ready to take that jump, it's the perfect sight to them. But you know, it may make them you know you could run a strike for a little bit, and it may you know get them to bump up to the proof later on once they feel a little bit more comfortable. But it's you know, it's an introduction to Dialed. It's an introduction to our brand and what we do. It still has the angled elevation rail on it, which you wouldn't think there'd be a lot of advantage to having an angled elevation rail on a fixed frame sight, but there actually is. So you still get the benefits of that. So it's like I said, it's a cool freaking site. Like
Yeah.
we don't promote it enough, but it's just right now we're just so focused on the proof. So it's like I said, it was a cool addition to the Dialed lineup.
Well, and you guys are really covering all types of bow hunters with both sites, you know, and
Right.
especially because I remember, I think it wasn't it 2 years ago when you came on and you guys had just dropped the horizontal pins, like the horizontal scope.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, so we dropped the horizontal pins when we launched Proof.
okay. So maybe it was less than 2 years ago. Because the thing is, what I like to see, and you guys have been doing it, is like you come up with this one idea, like the Arxos, right? And it looks nothing like what any other site looks like. It's got all these things that are improvements that, you know, you get more distance, got the angle elevation rail. Like it's all of that. It's totally different. And then I remember asking you, I was like, well, Scott, how are you going to improve the Arxos? And then you guys come out with the proof, and I'm like, oh, that's how you're going to do it. And then you come out
Ta-da.
with the strike, and I'm like, dude, you guys are just catering to everybody. Like that's perfect.
Yeah, we try. Yeah, we try. I mean, that's the cool thing about archery is, I mean, there's just, you know, everybody's got their personal preference, right?
Yeah.
And so yeah, we try to offer a little bit of everything for, you know, to try to hit as many demographics as we can. So, you know, like with the Arxos, we strictly just had vertical pins, right?
Mhm.
And then everybody's like, when are you going to come out with horizontal pins? And we always knew we were going to, but, you know, we were just kind of waiting because we knew proof was coming. So we're like, you know, let's launch horizontal pins when we launch proof. And then when we launched the horizontal pins, like we knew the 3VA was going to be next. And, you know, so it's just progression in product development. You know, you got to walk before you run. And, you know, going back to like just the difference, you know, a year makes like, you know, our infamous saying kind of from when we first started was like, we were building this airplane in the air. Like, dude, we had no clue what we were doing. Like,
Yeah.
I mean, I'll be straight up honest about that. Like, we had no clue what we were doing. We were just trying to figure things out as we went. And, you know, some stuff like, you know, we're still wearing some egg on our face, you know, for some of the stuff we did, but, you know, you learn from your mistakes. And, you know, that's been probably the funnest thing just about you know, the progression in the product line is just we're just constantly learning. And, you know, again, it just that's why, you know, like the proof was named the proof because it's proof that we listen. You know,
Yeah.
we didn't design the proof because it was necessarily what we wanted. I mean, there are parts of it that were a necessity from like a production, a manufacturing and assembly, you know, side. But a lot of the proof was based on feedback that we got from the Arxos. So like I said, we named it proof because it's proof that we listened to, the consumer feedback. And, that's why Strike was born, because, we had people ask, for fixed frame sights, and it was a demographic that we felt like we were kind of missing the boat on. So, we try to hit a little bit of everything, but, with at the end of the day, we also still have like, the core dialed, like what we want to do, what we believe in and stuff. So, we'll never sway from that, but it's just kind of keep doing what we're doing and build on it.
Yeah. I mean, whatever you guys are doing, you need to keep doing, because when I was at TAC last year, I saw a ton of dialed sites. Like, and
Yeah.
I felt kind of bad, and I'm not proud to admit that I was a little prideful, but I was running around with the proof, and like I didn't see many proofs, but I saw a lot of Arxos, and I was like, oh, I remember
hmm
when I had that. I was like,
Yeah.
dude, you wait till
Well,
you guys
dude,
see
and
what this is. It's
that's the crazy thing is, you look at like how many proofs we've sold and like how many Arxos we've sold, and it's a night and day difference, but
yeah,
it's like how many Arxos are still out there. And like I still run an Arxos like
yeah.
on
I've got
one
it
of
on my
my bows
backup
because
bow.
it'll always be our baby, but it still amazes me how many Arxos are still out there. And it's, not that there's anything wrong with the Arxos. Like
No,
I
not at all.
still love the Arxos. I mean, it did exactly what we wanted it to do. It's just, we didn't exactly nail it as far as what the general, consumer base wanted. So hence why we, progressed into the proof. But yeah, I mean, I smile every time like I see somebody at a TAC event with an Arxos. I'm like, hell yeah, like still rocking the
Yep.
Arxos. And, they'll be like, hell, like I love this site. Like I freaking love it. And, they'll come in and look and be like, check out the proof. And you'll see them look at their Arxos and they're like, yeah, the proof is pretty cool, but nah, I think I'm just gonna stick with my Arxos. I'm like, hey, that you do you, man. Like
Yeah.
that's cool. Like it's still a great site. It's just, like I said, we learned a lot from, from building the Arxos, and so yeah, it's cool to see. But I think that's like, I think like one thing for us is like we always, like you said, like whether it's us or anybody else, like we're all working hard. You know what I mean? Like everybody's, just grinding, but I think this past year, like being at the TAC events was kind of like the real eye opener of like what we're really doing. And it's like, holy shit, like there are a lot of dialed sites out there. And like
Yeah.
I look at the numbers every day and it's like, yeah, we're doing pretty good, like things are heading in the right direction. But then, when you just constantly see like more and more, and like, the real kind of like aha moment for me was, again, like being in Wyoming guiding, and like the amount of hunters that come through camp that have a dialed sight on, and like they have no clue who I
I
am.
was gonna say, do you tell
And
them?
no,
Oh,
no,
dude.
because it doesn't matter. I mean,
Yeah.
no, nobody gives a shit who I am.
That's gotta be
I'm
so
just,
cool.
but that's when I'm just like, holy cow, like we're really starting to gain some traction. But, we're always humble too, because we've only been doing this for 5 years. So you know, we're still in that startup phase, even though we're kind of slowly crawling out of that. But, there's a lot of companies that have been doing it a hell of a lot longer than we have. So, we still have a lot of work to do and a lot of stripes to earn. But, like I said, I'm super proud of like where we're at now, and, the team that we built and the effort that they put into, keeping dialed on the right track and keeping us growing. So it's pretty freaking cool.
Yeah. I mean, you guys definitely made some type of impact, because I want to say the past couple of years I've been seeing other sites that they don't look the same, but you can see the influence on like their
Yeah.
design. And I'm just like, yeah, I know what you guys are doing. You're not going to be any
Yeah.
better than the OG. Like it's not going to
But I
happen.
mean, but honestly, like, not to sound like cocky or arrogant or anything, but that's exactly why we started Dialed.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Is we wanted, I mean, like you've seen it, like, I mean, one of our sayings is kick the hornet's nest.
Yeah.
Like we wanted to get the attention of like other companies in the industry, because we truly felt at the time like that we launched Dialed, like the archery industry was pretty stale, and
Yeah.
particularly the sight category. So we love seeing like, whether it's intentional or not intentional, if somebody's trying to do like what we're doing or kind of expanding on what we're doing, like that's great. I mean, that's what our industry needs. And, and again, that's the whole reason we started Dialed, was just to, kick the hornet's nest and stir the pot a little bit and kind of get people thinking outside the box. Cause at the end of the day, like, innovation is what's going to keep our industry growing. It's what's going to keep people interested.
Mm-hmm.
So, and like I've always said, for, Taylor and I and Jordan and the Dial team, like, entrepreneurship is kind of a new endeavor for us. And, if there's one thing, like, whether Dialed's around for 40 years, 10 years, 20 years, whatever that time frame is, like if we can look back and like, you know, it'd be cool to look back and be like, Dialed left the mark on this industry. Like, you know, there's longevity to the brand. But the one thing, like for me personally, is like if we can motivate like some younger guys to like take the risk that we did
Mm-hmm.
and, get some new blood into the industry, like that's what our industry needs. And that's like, I've grown up in the archery industry and, I've seen the transformation and kind of the shifts and changes. And, it's not necessarily always in a good direction, but it's like if we can motivate guys to, take some of those ideas, because it's like, how many times have you been like sitting in the basement or sitting in the garage with your buddies drinking beer and you're like, you know what, like, it'd be a great idea. Like, how many times have we had those
Oh,
conversations,
dude.
but nobody ever acts on it, right?
Yeah.
And it's like, you just never know. I mean, you just never know when one of those ideas might be the one, right? And it's, I mean, even with Dialed, like, I mean, when we first started, like, I mean, the odds were 100% stacked against us. Like we didn't, I mean, the chances of us making it through the first year were, I mean, slim to none.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what I mean? But it's proof that if you believe in an idea, if you believe in a concept and you're willing to, go all in on it, I mean, it's you can do it. And like I said, overall, it it makes the industry a lot healthier. And at the end of the day, the consumers, the end users, us as archers, we're the ones that benefit from it. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So it's great to see, and like I said, it's kind of the whole reason we started Dialed. So it's I love it. I mean, I love seeing it. Capitalism is a great thing. It pushes all of us. It keeps us on his toes, and it makes us work harder. And that's, I mean, you know, Taylor and I, we talk about it every day. Like that's what motivates us is just keep keep pushing the envelope. And every day we just keep working harder and harder. And who knows where things will go. But right now, it's like I said, it's going well, and we're enjoying it. So we're just gonna keep grinding.
Dude, you're too good at this. You realize you just name dropped both sites in like probably 10 minutes? You were saying, I caught it the first time. You were like, yeah, we got to earn our strikes. I'm like, ah. And then you just said that there's the proof. And I'm like, all right, Scott,
Dude,
you got this on lock, dude.
I'm like a robot. I mean, I have the same conversations every freaking day, so
Yeah.
it just becomes automatic.
Oh man, I had to point that out because I'm over here cracking up and I'm listening to what you're saying, but I'm like, all right, once he's done, I gotta point it
Yeah,
out to him. Um,
yeah.
yeah,
It's just all bullshit. And it's just
but
stuff I
I
come
mean,
up
it's
with in my
true.
head.
Like it is true because
Yeah.
I've had jokes. You're probably gonna like this one. We did our third annual bow shoot last summer, right? And I had same setup I'm running right now. Prime form, proof, all this stuff. And one of my buddies, he was like, "Yeah, man, we can't shoot with you." He's like, "You got podcast money. Look at all that fancy stuff you got on there." I was like, "Huh?" I'm like, "Podcast money?" I was like, "What do you
What does
mean?"
that even mean? What does
Well,
that even mean?
it's because I mean, I will admit that the stuff that I'm running is kind of like the proof is a flashy looking site. Let's be honest. It looks
Oh
good,
yeah,
right?
yeah,
And the form, I mean, it looks different than everything else. But I say that as humbly as I can. I'm
right,
very thankful to be able to run this stuff, but it's just funny to me because like that site alone, not even with the whole other setup, but that site alone catches people's eyes. You can see
right.
one 100 yards down the range and you know what it
Mm-hmm.
is. And
Yeah,
it's just, I say this every time you come on, but I'm like a Dialed fangirl. I will literally push
I
everybody
love
to it.
it.
Every time I talk about it, I've been trying, one of my best friends who got me into hunting. I've been trying since you guys partnered over the podcast. I've been like, dude, just trust me. All right. I know you see the spot hog. I know you see this and you want all this stuff. And that's fine. That's fine. They might work.
Mhm.
But the Dialed, like, just shoot one. Just take the one off
Yeah,
my bow and go shoot yours. See what you think. He won't do it. He's too damn stubborn. And it's like one of these days, I'm gonna get you to shoot one and he's gonna see the
yeah.
difference. Like,
dude, I mean, trust me. I mean, I'm the same way in a lot of things. Like, I am not like I have such bad I don't know if it's like buyer's remorse or like I'm so afraid of like making the wrong decision, especially when it comes to like equipment.
yeah,
You know what I mean? And so I'm very much the person where like when I find something I like, I don't ever switch for it. So like I totally get it. And like especially like when it comes like I mentioned before, like with other sites, like there's so many good sites. Like like you mentioned Spot Hog, like I respect the shit out of Spot Hog because I mean they've been doing it for so long. Like, I mean, we wouldn't be able to do what we did if it wasn't for brands like Spot Hog
yeah.
that kind of like paved the path for us. But, so I mean, I get it. It is when you like something, it is tough to switch. And there's nothing wrong with that. It's just, like I said, I think we tried, whether it's just the cosmetics or like, the recognize, being able to recognize the site, like when you're on the shooting line, like that was a design, feature that was
Mhm.
on purpose. But, at the end of the day, I think it's just like, somebody told me once, like a long time ago, like life's too short to like use like cheap equipment.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And it's, I don't say cheap in from a price point, but I mean from like a quality standpoint,
Mhm.
right? And we're very much aware like our products are not cheap, but you know, we will never sacrifice quality or what we're trying to achieve um for because of a price point. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? So we very much realize like our products are not for everybody. Like we all have our budgets, we all have, especially I mean nowadays, like, people that have families and stuff like that, like there's a lot of other stuff we should be spending money on than a freaking archery site. But it's like, again, I use myself as an example. Like, I don't hunt as much as I used to. I'm just the opportunities to get out are minimal just because of everything that's going on with Dialed. So it's like when I do get a chance to go out, like I want to try to enjoy that time as much as possible. And generally, you're going to enjoy what you're doing way more if you're using good equipment, right?
Mhm.
Whether it's archery, guns, golf, fishing, you name it, everything is generally more fun if you're using better equipment, right?
Yeah.
So, that's always my kind of like my comeback to like, when people start talking about the price of our stuff, but it's also it's quality stuff, and we stand behind our product. So it's like when you spend the money, like you're not just buying a product, like you're buying us, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? So, but like I said, when you find that setup, and how many times have you set up a bow and it's like you have the best season you've ever had with that bow and you're like, I'm never getting rid of this bow, right? And it's just when it works, it works. You know what I mean? Like
Yeah.
there's a bow that I won't say what it is, but I mean, it's probably a 10-year-old bow at this point. And to this day, I'm like, I wish I never got rid of that bow. You
Yeah.
know what I mean? Like,
Yeah.
but, so I get it. It's like when you find the system that works for you and you have confidence in it, like, yeah, friggin' run with it, man. Like I fully support that.
Yeah. Well, and the thing is, like, this past season was my first year ever using like top end everything. Like
Hmm.
first season with a flagship. Obviously, I had the Arxos the season before, so that it was what was really funny. The running joke at that time was my sight costs more than my bow does,
Hmm.
which sounds bad on paper, but when you really look at it, it's funny. And the quality, you could tell, you know.
Hmm.
So like you could tell, like I could throw this sight on any bow and it's going to hold up. I could drop it
For sure.
and it's going to hold up. I don't know if the
Well, I
bow
mean,
that I'm shooting is going to do that.
it's no difference than like, I don't know, like a vehicle, right? Like you can have a 20-year-old vehicle and, you put a few aftermarket parts on it, you put some really nice tires on it, like that vehicle's going to perform way better than it did, when it was original.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? But like I always say for me, like I always use top of the line crap so I can at least look the part, you know what I mean? So there is that, if you use top of line stuff, people take you more seriously. So makes you look
Yeah.
like you know what you're doing, whether you do or not.
That
So
okay, yeah. You explained it. Explained exactly what I was just about to say. It's like I don't know,
that's why
like
I do it.
yeah.
That's why I do it because
I might
I
look
got
the
to at least
part,
look
but
I got to at least look the part.
yeah, I might go to tack this year and look like I know how to kill big deer, but really I kill spikes. Um,
Yeah,
it
that's
is
why
what it is.
everybody's always asked at tap event. It's like, did you get out and shoot this weekend? And I was like, nope.
Yep. Oh, I
But
haven't
I
shot
was
in
like,
2 weeks, dude.
I thought about it a couple times. So does that count?
At least it's still there. Yeah,
Yeah,
we've you know how Georgia is. We don't really get cold weather, and we're about to get wrecked by some snowstorm or ice storm that's coming. And every
good.
day the past week that's been leading up to it's been super cold. So like I'll get up in the morning and I've noticed a pattern with me. Like I'll get up in the morning and I am bright-eyed, bushy-tailed, ready to go, got all this energy, and I go to work and then I come home and I'm like, I said I was going to shoot my bow this morning when I got home. I don't really feel like it. It's
Dude,
cold.
that's
I want to warm up and get a couple hours to relax before the kids or before my daughter and wife get home. And it's like I don't really feel like going outside and doing that.
yeah,
Plus, deer
dude.
season's
I
over,
mean,
so I've got time.
I can 100% tell you, like, it doesn't get any easier the older you get. Like, I mean, when I was younger, like, there wasn't anything that took priority over shooting my bow. Like,
Mhm.
I mean, I shot my bow any chance I can, and like, even now, like getting ready for this, hunt in Texas, like I haven't shot my bow since the first week of December, and like the literally December 1st, like killed a deer,
Yeah.
put my bow away, haven't touched it since. And like this last weekend, I'm like, I should probably shoot my bow, just make sure I still know what I'm doing.
Yeah.
But it does not get easier the older you get. Cause I mean, like I said, I can find every excuse under the sun why I don't want to shoot my bow. Like you get done with work, I'm like, man, I'm too tired, or like, oh, I should
Yeah.
go to the gym, or like I should go to the grocery store, or I should probably take this survey, that somebody's calling me about. But like, I can literally come up with like every excuse not to shoot my bow. But I will say, picking my bow up this weekend and shooting, it's like, and there's a lot of other stuff in there. Like, I mean, like I said, I've been, archery's been a part of my life since I was like 6 years old,
Yeah.
and it does. There was a point like right before we started Dialed where I literally almost walked away from archery.
Mm.
Like I was done, and I just didn't really enjoy it anymore. And having Dialed, honestly, like it sounds kind of cliche or stupid, but like Dialed kind of saved like my passion for archery.
Yeah.
And but it's different now. You know what I mean? Like I find way more excitement and passion in like talking about archery and like helping other people, whether it's, getting them set up with their first dialed sight or just helping them just in general, even if they're not a dialed customer. Like I find way more enjoyment in that, which is like why I love guiding so much because I get way more excitement seeing somebody else pull the trigger than I do. Like, don't
Yeah.
get me wrong. I still love sending arrows down range and I still love pulling the trigger on animals, but it's just different now. But shooting my bow this weekend, I was like, I really like shooting my bow again. So I'm I'm making it, I'm not a resolutioner. I'm not like, I don't really set a lot of goals for myself, just because I always just want to try to do the best I can or be the best that I can. But this year is the year where, and I said this last year, but I'm hell bent that this is the year where like I'm going to spend a lot of time shooting my bow, getting my setup dialed in, really focusing
Ah,
on like,
you said
yeah, you see that? Yeah.
it. Dude, who good at
Why do
it?
you think we picked the name?
Who
Why do
good
you think
at
we
it? Oh,
picked the
I say it all
name?
the time, dude. It's
But
so bad. Like my
yeah,
wife's gotten tired of it. When we get closer to deer season, because I'm like, oh, I gotta dial my stuff in, and I just look at her and
dude,
smile. Like,
that's why we picked the name Dialed, because
so
that's nobody ever says anymore. Like, are you sighted in? Like, when was the last time you ever heard somebody like, like, hey man, you got your bow sighted in? It's like, no, you dialed? Are you dialed?
yeah,
Like it's
yeah.
become such a common term,
It's a
but
household name. You guys made a household name.
it's yeah. I mean, whether it was intentional or not, but
That's
no,
so
it is. I
funny.
mean, at the end of the day, like, I mean, archery is pretty cool, and I need to. I will say though, shooting my bow this weekend, I was like, it hurt a lot. I
Really?
was like, man, dude, I haven't shot a bow in a month, and it's
Yeah.
like that first arrow I drew back, and it was like every bone in my body like cracked and
Oh,
creaked, and
dude.
it's just out of shape. But like I said, it going back to the finding time or the willpower to shoot your bow, it gets harder the older you get. But I think everybody kind of goes through that, and then you find that one time when, like I said, it's like that one moment where you're like, you know what, like this is my passion, like. And and that's one thing we really try to like focus on with Dialed is like at the end of the day, like, you know Dialed was built on that passion. And every single person like in our company, we're all bow hunters.
Yeah.
Like, like it says right on our website, like, we're bow hunters first, businessmen second, and so I can, I'm a little embarrassed because like I haven't necessarily like held that part of, the credo up on my end, but I'm definitely back to where like, I want to shoot my bow more. I want to, and it's not that I don't have confidence, but it's just, I just I want to find that drive again to like shoot my bow every day.
Yeah.
And, I can feel it, that fire reigniting. And it's honestly, a lot of it is because of our team, like going to the shop and listening to the shop guys talk about like, they were all out hunting over the weekend or out shooting their bows and just seeing how excited they are. And it's like, man, like I'm never that excited about anything. And it's like, it's I wanna feel that excitement again. And like I said, I can feel it coming. So I'm super excited about these next couple days, but it's not necessarily because of the hunt. It's just, man, I do get to go hunting with my bow again. You know what I mean? And whether I even fire an arrow, it's just the fact that, it's me and my bow going for a walk and spending time with each other. Like it's
Perfect love story.
yeah, it's very romantic. Maybe Hallmark will make a movie about it sometime.
Make sure you get the Prosecco and some nice cheeses for after the hunt.
Yeah.
You got a spoiler.
Yep.
Got to.
Oh yeah, I know. Especially with Valentine's right around the corner, you gotta earn some brownie points for the next 9 months when my bow sits in my case and I don't touch it. But like I said, I'm not doing that this year. My bow's coming with me everywhere I go.
So what I'm hearing is you're coming to Tennessee Tack and you're going to hit the Sitka course with us.
I might.
Okay. I don't even know what course we're going to choose, but
I gotta see if they'll let me out of the booth.
You have to ask to go to Tack?
Dude, they're sticklers, man.
Really? Your parents went though.
I mean, no, that wasn't my parents. That was Taylor's dad. Yeah.
Well, my memory's terrible, so forgive me.
Yeah. No, Taylor's dad went. Kevin went. And I'm trying to think who else went, but yeah, I was supposed to go, and then my best friend decided to get married that weekend.
Right.
So
yeah, I remember that. I was so bummed.
Dumbass.
I was so bummed, dude. But yeah,
dude, I was too. I was actually excited for that one because it was like new venue and oh no, wait, it was back at Circle E, wasn't it last year?
Yeah, you're thinking the Georgia,
which
one.
I like. Yeah, which I like the Tennessee shoot. So yeah, I was excited for that one, and then freaking got asked to be in a wedding and had to go to Maryland. But it was a good time.
Friends are
I know.
too much work.
Try to be a good friend. Try to be a good friend from time to time.
Dude, well, you didn't really miss much because it was
the weather was dog shit.
Oh, it was horrible. I actually was freezing cold, and I got up to about mid calf in mud at one point and almost fell off a cliff. And that's on the easy course. That was on like the lacrosse course. So I remember walking out of there and I was like, dude, if we went to Sitka or Prime, we would have died. Like, I know we would have died.
There was literally like a 4-week stretch this year on the TAC tour where like, I think it started in Vermont and it went from like freezing rain, snow to tsunami winds and rain to like, it was just like bad weather after bad weather after bad weather. And it was like, after being in it for so long, it's like, I almost kind of like it when the weather's crappy because it's just like, you just laugh and you're like we're actually paying to do this.
Yeah.
Like we're paying money to be miserable right now, but everybody's miserable.
Yeah.
And like, you just like, you only have one option, but to just have fun. You know what I mean? Like, so it's, I don't know. I kind of like when the weather's miserable. It's not exactly best for business, but it makes it fun.
Yeah. It makes it interesting. It definitely.
Yeah. It makes it fun.
Well, look, before we wrap this up, I want to talk about your season. So the last time, the last time that we talked, what was it, like a month ago, 2 months ago, and it was like a 2-week span that I didn't hear from you. I was like, I almost called you and was gonna be like, Scott, are you alive? You okay?
Dude, the amount of people that call me or text me and been like, and just like, it's just simple like welfare check. Are you still alive? Like I guarantee you that is the most frequent like text I get from people is just
Dude,
welfare check, and I'm
you
like,
had me worried.
just like, I'm flattered people are actually worried about me, but I'm like, dude, like I'm busy. Like
Yeah.
I'm not communication is not my strong point.
Yeah. Well, you don't even have social media. So, I mean,
No, I hate
it,
social media. It's
God,
stupid.
I feel myself every day getting closer to that. Like, I'll hop on TikTok, and it happened today, actually. I had like 20 minutes of downtime, and I was just scrolling through, and all my TikTok usually is hunting stuff, Bible stuff, and then kind of like, probably because I like to show my wife these videos, but talking animals, or like AI talking
Oh
animals
yeah.
or something, you know?
Yeah,
And I'm
those
scrolling
dude,
through.
The Sasquatch ones crack me up.
Dude, I gotta be honest. I remember I was on that one when it first came out, and I was just constantly sending them that now I'm so burnt out. I see it and I'm like, oh God, now what? Like,
Yeah,
it's
the
so
amount of
bad.
people that like showed me those because like obviously I don't ever see them like on my own, but like people will show me them and I just crack up laughing.
Yeah.
So
It's just social media is getting to a point now where I don't know if you heard, but like Facebook has been attacking the hunting industry.
I mean, and that doesn't surprise me.
Dude, so I shared something that G5 posted, right? Which is it was no different than anything else they ever posted. It was just a dead deer with a broadhead, and that's it, right?
Hmm.
So I do that, and the next day I get this thing that says, "We're no longer recommending your page because you've gone against our community guidelines." And I'm like, "Wait, what? What?" And so I click on it, wondering what content was the thing that flagged it. But they wouldn't even show me. So I appealed it, and then 2 days later I get a
Hmm.
message from them saying, "We're going to uphold our decision and the verdict stands." I'm like, "Oh, so we're on trial now." I was like, "That's where we're at." And then I thought it
Yeah,
was just me. Then I started seeing people post, like, dude, there were some big names that were posting this stuff that they're getting basically, shadow banned. And I was like,
yeah,
what is going on? Because none of this was ever a problem a year ago. So I saw
right.
that and I'm like, dude, I don't. Social media, especially for the podcast and everything, is necessary. But like when
Oh, it's a necessity for business in
it
general.
is.
Like you have to do it. It's just me personally, it provides no value to me. I
Yeah.
mean, like if you're somebody that I like, if I want to know what's going on with you, I'll call you or I'll text you, right? And it's
Yep.
like, I don't know. Anyways, I could go on and on and on about it, but
Yeah. I've been seeing the
I'm
dark
not,
side of it.
I'll never, I'll never sign up for social media. So
I give it a couple of years. If I can find a way to be able to do this and not have to, use social media for it, I'd probably get away from it too. Cause like all I ever run into is either um accounts getting shadow banned for no reason, or the AI girlfriend, or like the chat stuff. And it's like, dude, I don't care about any of this. Why is this
yeah,
on here? It's not part of the algorithm that I'm looking at. So why is this here? It's just,
yeah,
I'm tired of it. I'm just tired of
it's
it.
all an agenda. It's all an
It is.
agenda.
Well, look, let's talk about positive stuff. So your season, you've been super busy. Um,
Hmm.
what does your season look like? I mean, did you get anything on the
Like last
ground?
season or yeah. So, you know, this season was by far like just as a whole like 2025 like as a whole was a great year for me like personally. I mean, Dialed had a fantastic year, like the whole tack tour was awesome, but it was definitely one of the busiest years, like I mean just from a business standpoint. Like I mean we finished up the tack tour in August and then I was home for like 4 days and then I was off to Wyoming to guide for 3 months, got home from Wyoming like the week of Thanksgiving. So like my whole like kind of hunting season, was pretty much, my hunting season was just starting when a lot of, people's hunting seasons were ending.
Mhm.
But yeah, no, I mean, for some reason, like I had a great year and, I'm not going to try to spin it into something like, oh, I put in all this effort and blah, blah, blah. I mean,
Yeah.
I hunted for 4 hours. I was very, very lucky and I was able to pick up a leftover tag in Wyoming for elk. Shot a really, really good bull the last day of the season with a rifle, but it was
Okay.
with two of my best friends. It was just so much fun and last day of the season. So, that was awesome. And then my first actual archery hunt was the first week of December. Killed my largest deer to date in Ohio. Took me 28 years to finally kill a big whitetail. So that was really cool, but shot it on the first night, sat for 4 hours and killed him at last light. So, again, Can't really say I, put a lot of time and effort into it. Just got lucky, but it was a deer that, I had hunted last year, had a couple close calls. So, it was the deer that I wanted to kill. So, and, I had some really good guys there with me, so that made it even better. But yeah, he was just a freaking awesome deer.
Is that the
And
buck you sent me
then,
a picture of?
yeah,
Okay. Yeah, dude.
yeah, the one in the river.
Yeah, yeah. When you were saying
Yeah,
it, I was like, wait a minute. He sent me a photo of it, and it was in a
yeah,
river. Dude, that
yeah.
was
So that
ugh.
was super cool. Like I said, my biggest deer to date. And then, yeah, so that, like I said, that's really the last hunting that I've done. So, when this opportunity to go to Texas kind of popped up, like it literally just last minute opportunity, and with some really good guys. One of my really good buddies from Minnesota is going with me, so it'll just be, again, going back to kind of like just how my passion for archery and hunting has changed. Like now, I had this conversation with a guy at he's actually one of my fellow board members for Pope and Young. But you know, hunting, I'm becoming a true believer in the fact that like hunting isn't meant to be done alone. You know what I mean? Like we all go hunting on our own. Like we all go to our own spots, our own stands.
Mhm.
But it's like for me, hunting is just like, dude, I just love spending time with like good guys and that camaraderie. And especially for me, like, you know, I know a lot of people, but like I really, I can count on one hand the amount of like good friends I have. And but that's how I like it. But you know, my best friends are guys that I've shared deer camp with.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because like nobody understands like the stress or the pressure that we put on ourselves like when it comes to hunting other than people that do it.
Yep.
So, for me, that was kind of the focus of this year was just spending time with like really good guys and just kind of reconnecting. And, if we killed something, great. Like, I mean, when we were in Ohio, like I wanted the guys I was with to kill something more than I did, and I went out there to kill like this specific deer. It was that deer or bust, and I got lucky and got it done on the first night, but so the whole week I was a cheerleader and I was there trying to like do anything I could to help to try to get these guys a deer. So and that's what this week like, hopefully we're successful, but at the end of the day, like I get to spend, a couple days with some really cool guys in some new country. Like, I've hunted Texas before, but I've never hunted, Southwest Texas. Like we're literally right on the Texas Mexican border, so
Oh, wow.
completely new country. And that's what makes it fun. It's just the adventure and exploring and the new experiences. But like I said, getting to do that with like just good guys. So so yeah, we'll see how this week's goes. But yeah, no, I mean it was a very short season, and I want to say it was anticlimactic, even though it wasn't. Like I said, I killed a really good bull in Wyoming, killed my best deer to date in Ohio, and hopefully now I can kill a big mule deer. But it's been a fun season, and like I said, like it was a great year for just overall like memories and experiences, like being in Wyoming. Like I grew up like I didn't come from like a hunting family. My dad wasn't a bow hunter. I got into bow hunting because of my uncle,
Mhm.
and my dad got into bow hunting because I was into it. So, growing up, my dad and my uncle were like my mentors. Like they were my idols when it came to hunting. And I haven't gotten to hunt with my dad for, probably like 15 years. He kind of got out of it, and but he's starting to get that passion again. So him and my mom came out to Wyoming and got to experience like what we do as guides. And I he picked up a cow elk tag, so I got to watch him shoot his first elk, his first time hunting out west. And I mean, you want to talk about like, you know I've never, other than, I mean, my Ohio deer, I got pretty fired up. But watching my dad shoot a cow elk was, I mean, that's something that I don't think there's any animal on this planet that I could kill that would beat that. But
Yeah.
then just other hunters that we had in camp, and like seeing people kill their first elk or their first antelope or their first mule deer, like it was just an awesome year for those type of experiences. So I was very, very blessed, and I feel very fortunate to be able to do what I do, And again, having Dialed as part of that. So like, seeing even like our shop guys, successful no matter the size, like that's the type of stuff that I get excited about. So, the fact that I was able to put, a couple animals on the ground and fill some tags were just kind of the icing on the cake or the cherry on top. So it was a great year overall. And, like I said, hopefully, you know, sneak one more hunt in to, I say end the year, but start the year would
Yeah.
be pretty badass, but we'll see what happens. It'll be fun regardless. And like I said, in some pretty cool country. So we'll see what happens.
Well, I mean, it is it is a good way to start the year by possibly getting on a 200-inch muley if you're at the Mexican border. So,
Yeah. Yeah.
dude,
Maybe knock off a few cartel guys while we're at
I
it,
mean, hey,
but we'll
if
see.
Trump's trying to do it, we might as well do
I
our
wonder if
part.
that's ever been done with a bow before.
I'm sure well, actually, I don't
Hmm.
know. I don't
First,
think anyone would talk
somebody's got
about
to
it.
be the first.
Yeah.
Somebody's got to be the first. I would get if that happened. I would sign up for social media if that happened.
That
I
would
would
be,
totally I would get social media for like 2 days just to brag about that,
yeah.
and then yeah, I probably wouldn't be around much longer after that. But
Yeah, I was gonna say, you do that for too
I'd
long,
have
they'll find you.
I'd have fame for like 2 days though.
Dude. Yeah, that'd be so sick to get. I really hope you do get like a solid muley down. I mean, any muley is a good deer, in my opinion.
Oh yeah,
But
mule deer are just. I mean, it's so crazy. Like growing up, like I grew up in Wisconsin, so like I've always been a whitetail hunter. Like no matter where I go, what I hunt, like whitetails, they'll always be at my core. Like I
mhm,
love whitetail hunting, and I think the part I love about whitetail hunting is the chess match. You know
yeah,
what I mean? Like it is the ultimate game of chess. But you know, forever mule deer just I never really paid much attention to them. And like I said, like we, I guide them and it's
yeah,
fun, but I just never really, I don't know. They never really did much for me. But
yeah,
then all of a sudden, like this year, I was like, you know what? Like, I really want to kill a mule deer with a bow. Like,
mm,
I really, really want to hunt a mule deer. So, like I said, when this opportunity popped up, I was like, hell yeah,
yeah.
like, I got to
Gotta
do
take
it,
it.
And, like I said, whether it turns out successful or not, like, it's going to be fun and just being able to do it it'll be awesome. So, feel very fortunate to go do it. But, yeah, it's just weird how all of a sudden you just kind of get like a new appetite for different things.
Yeah,
And like I said, I think for me it's just the fact that it's a part of the country I didn't even really know existed, you
yeah.
know what I mean, or even thought that there would be mule deer there. So yeah,
Yeah, I always
it'll
forget
be
there's
it'll
muleys
be
down
a
there.
it'll be a couple days for a lot of firsts.
Yeah, so what part of Wisconsin are you from?
West Central.
West Central. Is that anywhere near Lake Superior?
So like I'm south, like I grew up south of Superior, like 2.5 hours.
Okay. Because the reason I ask
So
is I'm going up there this November. My stepdad got one of his friends owns 100 acres up there of just
mm,
pure, hasn't been hunted in like 15 years, private land.
mhm,
And he told me that it's way up there, like 30 miles south of Superior. I think it's Washington
mhm.
County or something like that.
Yep.
And I don't know what to expect. I'm
So that's actually like I grew up deer hunting kind of like that same area. So
yeah.
like Sawyer County, like the big Northwoods, like
Yep.
that's where I grew up hunting.
So
So
what
yeah,
should I look at? Like, what am I looking at when I go up there?
I mean, it's big woods. Like there's no egg, there's no like, it's just big, big woods, lots of swamp, a lot of cedar swamps, big oak ridges. Like it's such a cool area, but I mean the deer density is, it's a lot lower density, so the numbers aren't there. So
Really?
yeah, it used to be like when I grew up like hunting up there, that's where like opening weekend of rifle season, that's where everybody went to go hunting. Like
Mm,
that was the hot spot for everybody to go hunting because there's just so much country,
yeah.
like that's, you're hunting private land, but that's where the majority of public land is in Wisconsin, is in the north
Hmm.
part of it. So it was just a lot of country and it was just so big. And like the deer numbers were really good. And then, you get into the time where they reintroduce wolves, CWD hits, so they have earn a buck, and then it just, the deer population just crashes. And granted, like, I haven't hunted up there in, gosh, I don't know, probably 15, 16 years. Like, it's been a long, long time. Well, 2009 was the last time I hunted up
Oh
there.
wow.
Um, and I think it's getting better. It's still not like what it used to be, but it's different. It's different than like hunting the central part of the state where you're hunting, corn and soybean fields, and you can see a long distance. Like, it's gnarly country up there, but it's a lot of fun.
Okay. Yeah, because
Yeah,
I know
it's a
it's gonna
lot of
be
fun.
different, and like I haven't hunted Illinois, but being from there, I know kind of the terrain. It's just flat, you know.
Polar opposite. Yeah,
Great. So
polar
it
opposite.
sounds more
Like,
like Georgia, honestly, because we have a lot of big
yeah.
woods and rolling hills and creeks and or not
But I
creeks.
mean, there's
Uh,
there's some big deer up there. I
oh
mean,
yeah,
it's not known for like being like producing a lot of big deer, but there are some big deer up there, and the bodies on them, like,
massive.
I mean, yeah, like I have my younger brother who's also in the industry. He lives in Duluth, so same area,
Hmm.
and like he killed a couple really, really good bucks the last couple years up there. And just the bodies on them I mean, they look like Canadian deer. I mean,
Really?
they're just huge bodied deer. But yeah, I've always said, like, I want to go back up there sometime and get back to like my roots and hunt that country again. I
Well,
haven't taken the time to do it, but
I got 100
it's
acres
a
if you
cool.
want to do it.
Yeah, man, let's do it.
I'll
Yeah,
send
let's
you a
do it.
date
It's
and where at, because I still don't know exactly. Like I have a note because I still haven't been given like an exact location, but
hmm
let me see if I can pull it up real quick. Good Lord, man, how many freaking? I have so many notes on my phone. Okay, that's not it. I know that what I was told is it's 30 miles south of Superior.
hmm
God dang, where is it?
so you're probably
Oh, here we go.
like
Pear Lake. Does that ring a
yep.
bell?
hmm
So that's about what you're talking about?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah, it's all that same. It's, yeah, all same country.
Gotcha. Okay.
But
Well,
yeah, I mean, the cool thing is, like, a lot of that country up there, like, it's been logged or timbered. So, like, you know, um, you have all that new growth, so it's
mhm.
thicker than crap, and it's just, I don't know, like, when you hear people say, like, hunting funnels and stuff, like, that was my first introduction to that term, because that's what we did. We hunted all these funnels. It was just these pinch points in between swamps, or
Yeah.
like, these clear cuts and stuff. And it's just such big timber, but it's a lot of fun up there. You'll have a blast.
I'm excited.
And you'll probably, I mean, it's it's crazy, because I mean, you'll run into deer, you'll run into black bears, you'll probably see some wolves. So I mean, there's elk up there. Like, you
Oh
just never know what
wow.
you'll see.
Okay. Well, that's uh that's gonna make the mornings interesting because we don't have
Oh
wolves
yeah.
here in Georgia. And, like black
No,
bears are
there's
few and far between. Um,
no, they're definitely up there.
yeah, I mean, especially expanding out to Colorado next year. I mean, there's mountain lions. My uncle was just here from over there a couple weeks ago, and we were talking about plans to go up to Oregon and go hunt blacktails, and then he showed me where we're going to be in Colorado, and it's way different. It's like 8,000, 9,000 foot elevation. Um,
hmm
he was telling me about how there's, bears and mountain lions and wolves and elk and muleys. And I'm just like, dude, I'm not going to sleep. Like, I'm just going to be having nightmares of a wolf or a mountain lion or something coming in and just grabbing me, which it is what it is. But yeah, dude, I'm
Yeah,
excited. I'm really excited. The drive's going to suck. I haven't fully picked exactly what week I'm going to go, but I'm thinking first week in November, probably. Because
sure. Yeah,
Georgia is just, I mean, this season last year was really rough. So I'm probably going to have to just, depend on what this off season looks like. Um, but I don't know, man. I'm excited. So
yeah,
I will
heck
keep
yeah,
you in the loop on that because
yeah,
it,
definitely.
it it's going to be different. But look, man, I don't want to keep you. I know you got this big muley hunt. You're going to go kill a 200. You better send me pictures. Scott, I'm going to say it right now.
I'm not killing a 200, but
Okay,
I'll
fine.
take I'll take
A
a 160.
180
I'll take a 160.
or 180. That'd be nice too. If
Who
I
knows?
see anything
You
on
never you
Dialed,
never know with me. Never
yeah.
know.
If I see something on Dial that you killed and I don't get a photo of it, I'm coming up there. I'm coming up there because I gotta be excited for my boy. Like, dude, here's what you gotta understand. I love mule deer. I absolutely am obsessed with them. So like when anybody
they're
I
cool.
know goes mule deer hunting, I'm like, please keep me in the loop. Let me know what happens. I want to see it. I just
Yeah,
they get me excited, man.
I'll keep you posted for sure.
Okay, awesome. Well, dude, thank you for coming on. As you know, I love Dialed. I love getting you on the podcast. It's always a good one. You guys are, in my opinion, changing the archery industry with the sites and what you guys do. I guess before we hop off here, man, just give us a shameless plug where everybody can find you.
Yeah, just same place we've always been, just dialedarchery.com, or I think it's just Dialed Archery on Instagram and social media. So, but yeah, no, we appreciate everything you do and appreciate the opportunity to come on and do some catching up. So, and I'll definitely keep you posted how the next couple of days go.
Sounds like play, man. Well, good luck.
But otherwise, we'll catch you at one of these one of the TAC events coming up.
Yep, I will be at Tennessee. So as long as you're there, I'll be sitting there just listening to stories.
Pretty good chance I'll be there this year. So
Awesome,
unless there's another wedding, which I probably won't go to. So
just turn your phone off. If you see the text, just swipe left and delete it and be like, oh, I never got the text. What do you mean?
Yeah, I'll catch you on the next one.
Yeah, wife number 2. Oh man.
Yeah.
All right, buddy. Well, I appreciate it.
All right, thanks, man.